Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to this next episode of FPL Family. And did you know, Sam, this is our 500th video on the channel. 500th video on the channel. Who'd have thought it when we first did that very first video? And you can go back and find this on the channel, right, guys? And it's also my pinned tweet on X, if anyone's still on X. But it's my pinned tweet on Blue Sky, don't I? But the first ever video we did, and we propped up my phone against the salt and pepper shaker, and we went, "Hello, everyone. This is Lee and Sam from FPL Family. We know about football. Come and follow us." 500 videos in. Boom. What are we saying? How's the journey?
It's been great. I don't know where... When you said that just before we came on, I was like...
Mad, isn't it?
What? How have we done 500 videos?
Mad, isn't it? And it culminated in us... So from propping my phone up against the salt and pepper shaker...
Yeah.
When the kids were in bed in our front room...
In our living room, in front of those green curtains.
In front of the green... Who remembers the green curtains in our... If you are an FPL Family OG viewer... And before we had all this lovely setup with the lights that Sam's bought and all the Champions League, before we had all of that, in our living room with those horrible green curtains,
we inherited
who
those.
Who remembers them?
The best thing is that we inherited those curtains when we moved in, and we never changed them. They just were there.
So bad.
And then I think they're probably still there. We left them there. Probably the people that moved in still got them. Yeah, they were green.
People that moved in with their lovely green curtains. I've seen them on a live stream.
I don't think they did.
Almost certainly not. But anyway, from there, Sam, all the way to the Football Content Awards on Thursday night. Wasn't it nice to see everyone on Thursday?
It was lovely.
Nothing for FPL Family, which is absolutely fine because...
We weren't really expecting to win.
We weren't expecting anything at all. And there was two categories, one for content creation and one for organisation. And everyone that was in the content creation one was like a top FPL content creator.
100%, yeah.
Holly came third, Andy came second, and bless his little cotton socks, Oscar came first, didn't he?
Looking the most shocked I've ever seen anybody. Because
Go on,
they moved
Oscar.
to sit with us,
So
didn't
good,
they? So
man.
we were all sitting together, like a big group of us, which was also so lovely.
They got stitched up at their table, didn't they?
They did.
You don't. So let's not give it away, but you have to pay a few quid for a table at the FCA's, don't you? No doubt about it. It's certainly not free, even if you get nominated. And the boys, Oscar, Harry, and there was one other, wasn't there?
Well, I think, but there was. But also the above average guys also had a terrible table because they came to us as well.
They was both of them were sort of sitting behind pillars.
So we ended up standard for Spurs in the East Stand. That's been in the old East Stand. Maybe it's reflective of that, but. So they ended up coming to sit with us on our table.
Which was brilliant.
Which was lovely. So we ended up with like a big group of us. And when they announced Focal... Well, you took a video of it, didn't you?
I was taking a video, yeah. I thought, well, if one of us wins, I'd like to be able to capture it. Because I had Harry on my right. Obviously, we were sitting there. And then you've got Focal sitting there.
And the above average boys
Above average,
were there.
I thought, well, I've got a 4 out of sort of 15 chance here of getting the winner caught on camera. And so it proved.
And his little face was just brilliant because he looked.
Gotta stop saying little face like he's our little brother.
I do feel like he and Harry are like my little brothers, though. To be fair, and he just looked like what?
Legend.
And he looked around as if to say, like, did he just say my name?
So good at it.
And then off he went up there and give his speech. Oh, it was lovely. It was a really, really, really nice. I mean, I know I am the world's most biased person, but for me, going there on Thursday evening was just such a lovely...
Oh, nice hospitality suite at Spurs. Never been in there.
Never been in
Cool.
there.
That's if you've got a few quid. Watch Spurs in there every week. Oh.
Well, we did get a quote, didn't we? I got a quote to get season tickets in there a few years ago, and
That's a bit pricier now.
Needless to say, we didn't do it.
I can tell. They got he's one of our own beer on tap.
Loved it.
We had nice little bowls, didn't we? The little plates in Spurs hospitality. They did a good job, the FCAs.
It was lovely. It was a lovely evening. Lovely to be at Spurs. Unlike last year when we were at Liverpool and they locked the doors so you couldn't get out into the bowl, at Spurs they were like, no, go outside if you want to. So I was living my best life.
They were great.
I went and sat out there for like 20 minutes by myself, just in the bowl, alone, completely by myself, and sat there in one of the seats and was like, blimey O'Reilly, how is this my life?
So congratulations to Focal. Congratulations to all the winners, Holly and to Andy and everybody, even the folks at Hub, right? They got the best in organisation, so fair play to Hub. But the one thing we have to say is congratulations to Fantasy Football Scout as well, inducted into the FCA's Hall of Fame, no less. There's not many make it into the bloody Hall of Fame for the FCA's, by the way.
There's only 9 of us.
There's only 9, but here, folks, and it's absolutely not for me to share. This is for you to share with the folks here on the FPL Family live stream.
My trophy.
The Fantasy Football Scout Hall of Fame inductees for the FCA's. Absolutely stunning job by you and the team, everybody at Fantasy Football Scout. So let's have a look at it. It's all right, you looking at it. Show the camera.
I'm so proud of it.
Nice, isn't it? Look at that.
It's
beautiful
it's
stuff.
It's not the best thing to show, is it? Because you need like
should we have like a background or something? I don't know.
Put it up on the wall.
Maybe.
I don't know if you can see that. But it's such a. It was one of those awards where I think for us at Scout, obviously, every single person who produces content, be it fantasy or otherwise, that was at that event, works so hard. And it's one of those things that I think when you watch content, and I'm guilty of it as well, when I watch other people's content, you just kind of think, oh well, put it back, don't let it get broken. I did nearly
try not to get any fingerprints.
I did nearly drop it on the night, and yeah, and I think everyone, what you don't appreciate is how much goes in behind the scenes. And at Scout, the team that I have they are an incredible bunch of human beings who are just lovely to be around, but work their absolute socks off to provide the best content. And this year we've done so much with the launch of the app. There's loads of projects that we're currently working on, which will be ready. Some of them for the
loads of good stuff coming up. I get a little bit of an insight to this.
You get a little snippet.
There's some quality stuff coming up on Scout. There's lots of great stuff
coming. Some of them within the next couple of weeks. Some of them in the new year. Some of them ahead of the new season. Lots of projects that we're working on.
What can we tell? We can't.
Nothing. No. Stop.
Can't tell you guys. I can't tell you.
But
I get told off.
But I think it is one of those things that I'm so proud of the Scout family. And if you aren't a Scout member, tomorrow we've got a Black Friday offer on, so we're doing
here we go.
We're doing a week's free trial.
Here we go.
No, but we're doing a week's free trial.
Promo in.
If you're clever, if you play it clever,
go on,
and you sign up on Tuesday rather than tomorrow, you'd get 2 deadlines for free because there's a midweek round next week. So if you play it clever, you can sign up. The price will also, it's going to end our pre-season offer, which is we've still left on. And so look, it's thank you to everyone who voted for us at the Content Awards, who voted for the FPL Pod, who voted for FFS, and thank you to the Football Content Awards for giving us that award, because it did mean a lot to me, and I did enough prance around with it outside in the bowl and lift it above my head, because you never know when Spurs are going to lift a trophy. Although then we went and were epic on Saturday night.
Well, you were one happy Spurs fan on Thursday night, and you were one happy Spurs fan yesterday as well. We are going to talk about that in due course.
Is your arm okay? I might have punched Lee a few times.
Yeah, you gave me a bit of a, it's 2-0, Lee, and punched me in the arm. I was like, all right, cheers. Thanks for that. God.
I'll tell you another story about what happened when it was 3-0.
I was like, I hope you don't score anymore. And it was like, 3-4-0. Right, let's say
that made it look like I was domestically abusing you. That wasn't the case.
No, it's fine. That's fine. I'll happily take those punches, because it means City now looking. We're
hoping to hand you over a title.
Well,
we're being helpful to you.
Let's see. I was a bit less than convinced by us today, but more on that a bit later on. Let's say hello to a few people. Scott Schrager, the OG, is in. He says, back in the wooden spoon days. He remembers the green curtains.
The wooden spoon. We used to send people
Scott remembers the green curtain. Do you remember that? When we used to have about 10 viewers, and whoever got the worst score that game week, we used to send them a wooden spoon in the post as a bit of a consolation prize. And then it was a bit like, well, there's quite a few of you in here, so we got a few more in,
I just used to spend my life in the post office just posting wooden spoons. Yeah. And I remember the postman, in the post office, used to just be like, because they have to ask you, don't you? Like, what's in the parcel?
And you'd be like, wooden spoons.
Spoon. And he'd be like, okay. And then after a few weeks of me going in there, he just went, wooden spoons? I was like, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Matt France is in. Hey, Matt, he says, you looked amazing and gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
And Sam, you looked okay too.
Shut up.
That's what he says. That's Matt. I've not put that. He's put that. You can't have a go at me. That's Matt Francis, in case you're wondering. Tanky says the awards were at the Spurs Stadium, where they were. They were at the hospitality suite at the Spurs Stadium. Very, very good indeed.
They were lovely.
Alex is in. He says 77 points with East Akenos Hall still to go. Very nice. Good, Alex. Very good. Top five overall rank. This FPL season has been crazy. Alex, is that top 5K? Or are you in the top 5 in FPL overall, Alex. If you're in the top 5, mate, that is unbelievable.
That would be techers.
And well done and congratulations. Keep it up, mate. Keep it up. Jonathan Shirley says, good evening. Who won the award for the drunkest at the FCAs? I think it was, to be honest, everyone was quite well behaved, I thought.
So last year...
Quite well behaved.
Last year there was
Jonathan,
a lot of drunk people. It was a very different vibe this year. So last year when it was at Anfield, it was in one of their... so obviously there's different levels of hospitality in each of the stadiums. And the same at Spurs, right? And in Anfield, it was in one of their more entry-level hospitality ones. So it was a bit more fun. There was like football tables and a DJ and that kind of stuff. Whereas at Spurs, they put us in the like proper hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a bit
corporate.
more... It was a bit more corporate, and it was a bit more formal.
Bit too corporate? Bit more fun at Anfield, wasn't it?
It was more fun at Anfield, but
Good vibes.
it was so beautiful at Spurs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one was really that drunk, to be honest. Not that I noticed, anyway.
No, everyone was quite well behaved, I thought. It's quite well behaved. Simon is in. Hey, Simon,
Hey,
very
Sam.
nice to see you. He says, Sam, the crab is no more.
What?
Nigel the crab is done and dusted. He's
What?
He's super chatting.
Sorry?
Thank you for the super chat, Simon, as Simon Minall Burdett. So the crab is gone,
I don't
apparently.
understand. What happened?
Maybe he's taking
Why is the
FPL
crab
more
dead?
seriously. I don't know. Hits are still here, though, he says. So it is still the same old Simon. Jackson, Ahmed and Isak in for a -8, which hasn't been too bad so far, depending on how Isak does for you tomorrow, mate. Ahmad on 8 points has eaten up the hit. So, yeah, Ahmad actually did come in, didn't he, with a nice assist today. He said, P.S. Happy heavenly birthday to my daughter, Sky. So, yeah, sending you love, mate, from both of us here. And for anybody else that's been through a similar loss. Yeah, it's well said, mate. So, yeah, hope you're all right today, mate. Hope it's been okay. Yeah, lots of love to you. Lots of love to you and your family, mate. Alex is back in the chat. He says, actual top 5, Sam. Top 5, and I'm gonna attempt to pronounce your surname, Alex. Notice that I tried to swerve it before. Herculen, I think is how you say Alex's surname. Alex, if I've butchered that, I apologise. But Alex Herculen, currently top 5
That is mental.
in FPL.
I think that might be...
Well done, mate.
I can't think of a time when we've ever had somebody in our live stream that's that high up.
Mad. Love it.
That is
very,
brilliant.
very good indeed.
Well
very
done.
good. Barris 302 is in. He's saying I'm 2K. Well, listen, Barris, that is absolutely sensational as well. But everyone here, all 300 of you that are in, have been completely overshadowed by Alex.
If you'd have come in any other week, we'd have been like, top 2K, that's incredible. Top 5.
So good.
Wow.
Yeah, so good. So listen, guys, thank you all for joining the FPL Family live stream. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the stream. Hit subscribe if you're new around here as well, of course. We'll do what we usually do. We'll go through some of the games. We'll look ahead to game week 13 as well. So we tend to look back at what's just happened this weekend, and then we try and put it into a bit of context for next weekend and start to look at our teams and what we're planning to do. We'll have a look at how we got on in game week 12 as well, of course.
Not finished though yet.
Still got the Newcastle game to go. Yes, so still on Monday Night Football. So to that end, we can't do any sleeper updates. So we'll do some sleeper updates during the week on our socials. But for today, we're going to focus purely on these games, Sam. Purely on these games. And do you know what? I'm just going to bloody do it. I'm going to bloody do it, Sam. And if I could find the right window. Hold on. Hold the line, callers. Where's my window?
What are you trying to look for here?
That window. There it is. Right. I'm going to go to Manchester City 0. Spurs 4. I got punched in the arm.
Again?
You were hyperactive the whole of Saturday.
Not the whole of Saturday.
What on earth are Spurs and Ange playing at when you lose at home to Ipswich last week against the Pepper Pigs?
Yeah.
And then you go to the Etihad and beat the champions 4-0. You are the definition of inconsistency right now. But I'm not going to be negative because this was a very, very good performance indeed. Very good.
You know the Ronan Keating song, Life is a Roller Coaster?
Where's this going? Oh, right, okay, yeah.
That is what it's like to be a Spurs fan.
Up and down,
Life
up and down Spurs
is a
at the minute.
flipping roller coaster.
Unreal.
And as Ronan Keating used to say, you just got to ride it.
Right.
And that is what is basically like being a Spurs fan.
But what did Ange get right here? Because the narrative leading up to this game was, Ben Davies and Dragerson at centre-half. I'm going to captain
I never
Haaland.
understood this. So
I do, because they're two rubbish.
No, they aren't rubbish. So Az and I basically had a little bit of a Barney about this.
Oh, you do surprise me.
On the Q&A. And just after the Q&A. Because he kept banging on about, well, you wouldn't want Ben Davies playing at centre-back. And that was my impression of Az. And I said, why not? He plays at centre-back for Wales. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say, I absolutely wouldn't have given my right arm or maybe traded my husband for it to be Van der Ven and Romero starting. Of course you would want that because they're they are the
Yeah, fair
preferred
play.
options. But genuinely, I think for me, one of the big things that's changed at Spurs this season is that we actually have a decent replacement in pretty much every position now. So Bentancur's suspended for 7 games. Basuma comes in and can do a great job there. You've got the ability to move the front players around, and you've got
Yeah,
the fact
no
that
Brennan
doesn't
starting the game was
start,
interesting, wasn't it? Yeah.
and Maddison can come. I'm not going to sit here and say that Dragusin and Ben Davis would have been first choice because clearly they wouldn't. But what I will say is that Ben Davis is one of the most consistent. He's been at the club for 13 years because he's one of the most consistent players. And when he's required to do something, he comes in and he does a good job. Now, did we ride our luck? At the beginning of the game a little bit. We probably should have gone 1-0 down, to be fair. However, we always go to Manchester and play our football in the same way that we will anywhere we go this season. But at the Etihad, we've actually got quite a good record. And I could not really understand.
Tactically, what did he get right in this game?
But I couldn't really understand why we were getting such a bashing, apart from that we'd lost to Ipswich, and I get that. But we were always going to go up there and play our football. But what he did slightly differently this time, and I think it was partly because of the Bentancur suspension that did it, is he's looking at the team and he's going, well, I've not got my preferred speed in Mickey van der Ven, so I've got to put somebody in front of Ben Davis and Dragusin who can be pacey and support them and get back when needed.
Legs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's got Basuma and Papsar in there who can both do that role at different points during the game when required to. So having that player there changed the way that we set up because it also meant that he put Maddison in the middle, who's tricky and annoying to be around, in a way that Kulu isn't. Kulu's very different. Kulu, by the way, again...
What a season he's having, by the way.
Again, incredible. Wherever he asks him to play is incredible. So I think tactically he got it right because he said, we're going to go and attack and play our football. Basuma and Papsar, you're going to take it in turns to go and stay. But whoever's staying, you are in charge of going quickly to protect the defence because the defence aren't quick. With Dragusin and Ben Davis, they're not speedy. You're going to have to be the ones that do that. And he, particularly Basuma and Papsar, I thought were excellent. Both of them doing a fantastic job in the middle there. Maddison comes back into the team. I love the lack of moaning from Maddison that's been going on. He's not
got his head down, hasn't he? Yeah.
He's not thrown his toys out of the pram, which he could have done. And I like the fact that, over the international break, Maddison's had his head down, he's been working hard, he gets the start, he plays well, gets a couple of goals.
There was a little bit in the press about he'd had a bit of a falling out with Ange, didn't he? But,
yeah, but the press is nonsense. Like, none of the Spurs channels were reporting that.
No, I think you're probably right. I agree with you, by the way. And I'm not saying joining our Patreon is essential, but this is exactly the conversation we had on our Ohana on Thursday, wasn't it? About the game and how it might pan out. I was with you. I wasn't convinced. I thought, I'm going to wait to see the lineup, and then I'll give you my view on how the game's going to go. But I thought, with those two at centre-half, he had to go with the bullies in midfield. He had to have Sarr and Bissouma.
Had to be.
That's what he did. And as soon as I heard that Kovacic was out, I was like, you've got every chance in this game. Because you absolutely bullied Rico Lewis in there. And you bullied Gundogan as well, who hasn't got the legs anymore, by the way. I can see why Pep brought him back in the summer. Is he a bit of nostalgia there, maybe? Can he help the younger players, maybe? Is he good as a squad player, maybe? But he needs him a lot at the moment, and he just hasn't got the legs anymore, Gundogan. He let his player go far too many times, and a lot of the time his player was Maddison or Kulusevski. And again, shout out to Kulik, brilliant. But the game was won in that midfield battle. They absolutely bullied Rico Lewis and Gundogan, and they did a fantastic job. And in the end, Dragusin and Ben Davis were protected from that perspective. And, I don't want to say it's just those two because it was all in.
It worked hard.
It all in was a brilliant performance from Spurs. It was brilliant performance.
It was one of those where in my sleeper PickEm thing, I had it as a draw because I genuinely, and people thought I was mental. I was getting a lot of comments on Thursday evening when we were talking about it. People being like, what are you talking about, Sam? And I was like, genuinely, I think we'll do all right there. I didn't think we'd keep a clean sheet because we never do. But Vicario was great. He pulled out some brilliant saves. He commanded the defence. Ben Davis is calm, and that really helps. You've got two calm players. Dragusin benefited from having the calmness of Ben Davis there.
Okay.
Kulusevski and the front players are keeping the ball so well that it's offering some protection for the defence right from the attack.
What are you doing in FPL though? Because you've got Solanke, and Solanke only pops up. I guess only gets an assist again. Instrumental to the win, dropping deep in key areas, getting the ball in and around Gundogan and Rico Lewis. Brilliant performance.
Yeah.
But you want more in FPL, don't you?
Well, you do, but equally, I'm going into the game now. It's at home to Fulham next weekend. Obviously, we've got the Roma game on Thursday evening, so there's a wait and see a little bit there because if somebody gets injured, etc., etc., etc. But for me, Solanke was never... When I brought him in, it was never going to be a long-term hold. It was always going to be you're there for this little journey that we're going on for a few weeks. I think going into the game against Fulham, he shouldn't need to drop quite so deep. So it'll be interesting to watch whether he still continues to do that.
No Anderson for them is big, by the way.
That'll be massive.
I know that the collapse against Wolves, and we'll talk about the Fulham Wolves game in a minute, because by the way, there's some unbelievable goals in that game. Cunha's just elite, isn't he? But yeah, the Anderson went off injured. They'd already used their 5 subs, so they were down to 10 men. And I put largely the collapse and the Wolves, the late flurry from Wolves down to that. Ooh. But equally, I think Fulham could have had other players gone off in that game, gone down to 10, and still wouldn't have suffered the 4 goals. But Anderson going off, he's key to them. And I just think with Solanke now, or any of the Spurs attackers, I sold Brennan Johnson this week. More on that in a second. And when he got benched, I was like, oh, I've done all right there.
Yeah.
He comes on and gets the trademark. It's absolute trademark goal now, Brennan, isn't it? Ghosting at the back post.
But also, how nice for Werner. Beats Kyle Walker.
Oh, Kyle Walker's done. Don't give me this. I said this. Did I say this to you about 3 months ago? I said Walker's done. You're like, no, he's not. He's still going to be. He's done.
He's
cooked.
Let's just give. Can you just give? Werner could really do with you just being.
It's Werner, Sam.
No,
it's Werner.
Don't upset. Like, Werner needs a bit of that was great for him. Did you notice that Brennan's celebrating it and the Spurs players all go to Werner to help him? It's lovely.
Yes, well done, Timo, but
Thank
he is
you.
rubbish.
No, don't say the rubbish bit.
And Walker's just made him look like prime Ronaldinho.
Well done, Werner. Then end it.
Oh, haven't it?
I think so. So in answer to your question, I'm going to hold Solanke for the Fulham game.
I would with Anderson. If Anderson is out, which it looks like he's possibly going to be,
even if he's not out, I'm still going to hold him because we are good at home. Yeah. We've scored the most goals in the league by such a long way now. I think we're on 27, and the next best is on 23 or something.
It's been good.
We are scoring a lot of goals. So it'll be. I'm going to hold Solanke for this one. I think moving forward after Fulham, I probably will sell Solanke. And I'll
Bournemouth away, Chelsea, and then Southampton away. It's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but I don't have Cunha at the minute, and I don't have Isak. So I'm going to see what Isak does tomorrow night, and then make some calls about where I go. But if Solanke returns against Fulham, then maybe he stays again.
All good. All right, and from a Man City perspective... Oh, God, I've gone to the wrong screen. There we go. And from a City perspective then, how do you feel if you're an Erling Haaland owner? Because again, he's shown up well in the XG. He's got a delta of minus 0.82. So in the underachievers, he's third. Delap, Palmer, and then Haaland third for XG underachievers. Got plenty of chances, 7 chances, which was the most in all of the games on Saturday. And he had 7 shots on target as well. 7 shots on goal, I should say. So, again, for the 3rd week in a row, the underlying stats look good. But his FPL owners, particularly those that captained him, won't want to hear that, would they? Won't want to hear it.
Nothing will make that feel better. If you're a Haaland captainer, none of you.
Say whatever stat you want.
It's almost like you don't... When I triple captained him that week and he had all those underlying numbers were there, that's almost worse because you're just like, what is that about? Why has that happened? And I kind of feel like it feels like that as a Haaland owner. But I think the problem you've got if you're a Haaland owner is that the creativity's there already. Like I think a few weeks ago we were saying, well, they're missing the creative players. They don't have this. They don't have that. He's not getting the service, etc., etc., etc. That's not the case at the moment.
Is it though? 7 shots and an XG of 0.82. It doesn't. What's that like?
Yeah, but
0.12 XG a shot. It's not like he's having these are not gimme shots, are they?
Well, they're not. But there were a few opportunities in that game that genuinely he really should have scored.
Yeah.
And I think, over the last few weeks, he has had opportunities that he really should have scored. Now he's got the creative players back, the KDBs and all of that stuff. And in theory, I know that Man City aren't at full strength, and I get that.
KDB come on, didn't he? Set him up almost immediately in the car.
Almost immediately. And so in some ways, right, they were probably a bit unlucky. And if that goal goes in, then we're probably not having the same conversation. But I think for me, the big issue with Haaland is that you've got to pay over 15 million. I think he's dropped again in price now.
Dropped last night, yeah.
Yeah, so 15.1 I think now. You've got to pay that level of budget for him at a time where so far, just this game week, we've got Salah bracing, and oh my God, how Salah hasn't got more than a brace, I've no clue. You've got Saka doing well. You've got Palmer, who, if it wasn't for Madueke being Madueke, gets a goal. More on that later. You've got... Who else have you got in there? You've got... like
Bruno, maybe?
Because even Bruno was influential in the game today.
Yeah.
Doesn't get anything, but he's in the conversation still. You've got all of these premium assets, particularly in midfield, who are all performing really well right now. And even if they're missing some weeks without getting returns, they are getting more opportunities and they're more involved than Haaland is. And you can have more of them if you don't have Haaland. And I think that's the critical thing here, is that you can, if you have Haaland, you probably got one of those. If you haven't got Haaland, you probably got three of those.
But I think we're getting to a point now where you take the premium midfield conversation off the table and just go,
is he worth 15?
Pound for pound? That front there is so many options in that forward line now.
And we haven't even seen Isak play.
We haven't seen Isak play. I think he'll do well tomorrow.
I think he will too.
I hope he doesn't. I haven't got him, but I think he will. Cunha is
unbelievable.
Just unbelievable right now. And their fixtures look good.
Yeah.
Joao Pedro's back, and
banging.
Don't we all know it? Because he's straight back into the groove.
Yeah.
Who else you got up there? Solanke we've discussed. Watkins gets a goal and breaks his duck now because he's got a couple of decent home fixtures on the sort of horizon. Jackson, because Chelsea's fixtures look really, really good.
Yeah.
Who else? There's a few, isn't there? But it's getting to a point now where it's like, you feasibly, your whole front line could cost less than 15 million if you play it right. Do you know what I mean? And it's like Haaland's sitting there at 15 million on his own. And it's like, even if you would, like right now, would I move, money no object, move for Haaland or for Cunha now if I had neither? I'd be doing everything I could to get Cunha in.
Yeah.
I think. And that's mad to say it, but it is.
And I think the other thing is that are you realistically next week, Manchester City have got you lot.
Yeah.
Are you going to captain Haaland next week?
Not
very
Anfield,
unlikely that you would captain him. Whereas would you captain Salah against Man City the way they're playing at the moment? You absolutely could. Maybe, or you can go for Saka against West Ham or Palmer, or there's all these other options. And I just think that you have to think really carefully. And if you want to hold Haaland, look, I get it. He's the most expensive player in the game. He started the season like an absolute train, didn't he? And if you'd have said to us after game week 5 that come game week 13, he's going to be the most sold player in the game and everyone's jumping off him because he's literally fallen off a cliff, I don't think anyone would have actually believed that was the right thing to do. But from what we've seen over the last few weeks, and with Liverpool up next, as well as a Champions League fixture in midweek, Rodri's not coming back soon. He's not coming back soon. And that is absolutely critical to the way that they play football. So there will be more chances. With KDB back, there will be more chances. He will get goals. And I don't think anybody is saying, oh, you've got to sell Haaland because he's never going to score again. He will score again. He will get points. But can you balance your team better if you have Cunha or somebody along those lines? And could they outscore them?
The body language is just not right at City, though. Just on a more macro level, they spent years and years and years breaking the rules and buying whatever players they wanted because they were being fraudulent with money, right? Let's not beat around the bush. And they built an unbelievable squad. Unbelievable squad of players with talented, 2 or 3 in every position. Yep. Now, a couple of years ago, they got found out and that stopped. And they haven't built the squad up in the way that they had done when they had all the money.
The injuries have hit them hardest this year.
And I know they've had a lot of injuries, and the City fans are going to come at me for this. I understand that. But Pep had an embarrassment of riches, like a real embarrassment of riches, and it might come back to bite them very, very significantly. And they won title after title after title with that squad. But in the last 2 years, they've not been able to do that. And now the chips that they've not been able to play are now falling off the edge of the table. Yeah. Because they haven't got the squad that they've had in previous years. They've still got some properly good players, but some of those properly good players are coming to the end of their careers. Getting Gundogan back was a red flag, in my opinion. Why are they getting Gundogan? Why the bloody are getting Gundogan back? Well, it's because you can't go and spend 100 million on a midfielder anymore. But
the problem is that the players that they have spent a lot of money on over the last couple of seasons as well. I mean, there's been some good ones in there, but
not many.
But you've also had players like Calvin Phillips in there that just has done nothing while he's been there. Savio, I think, has got potential, but we're not really seeing that properly yet. You've got players like Grealish who
dropped right off.
He's dropped right off, but also he's injured so much now. Like, he's constantly feels like he's injured. You've got
he's reached the pinnacle of what he wanted to achieve.
Maybe, yeah.
He won everything with City.
Yeah.
And he contributed a lot in that season. And he's like, I've done it now.
But it's little things, isn't it, as well? Like selling Alvarez in the summer.
Yeah.
Like, that's mad to me because when you think back to last season, how important Alvarez was, and most of us had doubled up on Haaland and Alvarez. To sell Alvarez, could they not have dealt with? They could have done so much with him over the last few weeks with all these other injuries that they've had. But it's difficult, and I think I'm a Vardiol owner. I played him this week because I thought he might get an attacking return against us.
Yeah.
He got 0.
Yeah.
And I can't. There's so much value in those defensive cheap options as well that holding somebody that's over 6 million just doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah. And when they had to, and I've got to stop talking like this, but when all the nonsense stopped and they had to suddenly play by the rules, they had to get rid of their homegrown players. So all right, Palmer's out the door. What happens to him? He's best in the league.
Yeah.
Or one of the best in the league. Ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, I've missed loads of super chats because I've been ranting about City. Probably going to get told off for that, but never mind. Joseph Melody, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Sam and Lee. Hi, Joseph. Congrats on the award, FCA award, Sam, and the Fantasy Football Scout team.
Thank you.
62 this game week with Hall to play. Very good, Joseph. Very good nice. Indeed. Let me see if I missed any others up there. There's Simon's one. I don't think I missed any more since then. Oh, John's been gifting new memberships. Thank you, John, for gifting 5 FPL family memberships to Heather, to John, to Line Pedersen, to Paul, and to Matthew Perry. So, John, very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. And Davis family. Thank you, Davis family, for the super chat. Haaland to Pedro. That's going to save you a lot of money, mate. Smith Rowe to Saka, Rodgers to Palmer, and Vardiol to Van Heck. Blimey. For a -4. Want to do Saka and Joao Pedro tonight to avoid price increases. Thoughts, please. Well, I was going to jump.
Pedro went up last night, no? Is he going up again tonight?
I doubt if he's going up back-to-back nights. I doubt it. I haven't seen that. I was going to jump to Wolves because I wanted to talk about Cunha, but since Davis family has super chatted to talk about Joao Pedro, let's discuss goal and an assist for the young Brazilian. Very, very good performance indeed. I'll be interested to see how Baliba, which, by the way, I didn't think that was a red. Did you think that was a red?
No.
I didn't think it really warranted a second yellow, to be honest with you. But anyway, he's gone, so let's see what the impact of him might be. But no doubt about it, Brighton were so much more cohesive was the word I think I saw used on Twitter. I was trying to think, were they better? I wouldn't use the word better, just say cohesive. He just gels it all together, Joao Pedro. And the assist for Mitoma. Mitoma's making that run.
Yeah.
Even before, a couple of seconds before Joao Pedro passes it.
Because he knows it's coming.
Yeah. He knows that Joao Pedro's like, I know he's going to get his head up and knows where I'm going to be. And I'm going to make that run anyway. And he's starting, just being back means it'll benefit the others around him as well. And I expect Brighton, and if we have a look at their fixtures over the sort of short to medium term, these are the fixtures between, for those on the YouTube that can see this, these are the fixtures between 13 and 19. Why? Because that is the end of the year, right? So game week 20
end of the wildcard
is new wildcard window. So that's January. So this is between now and the next wildcard window. Look at Brighton there. Second only to Arsenal with Southampton at home up next.
Yeah.
Fulham away. But we've just seen Wolves put 4 past Fulham. Leicester, who have just sacked their manager out of nowhere. Didn't expect to see that tonight.
No.
Palace at home. West Ham, who probably will be next to sack their manager, let's face it. Brentford, who, oh my God, kept a clean sheet this week. More on that later on. Honestly, I was almost crying with that Flekken clean sheet. Almost cried at that Flekken clean sheet.
When we get to the Brentford
game. Tears in my eyes.
I'm going to tell you a story about Lee and the Flekken clean sheet.
Tears in my eyes at the Flekken clean sheet. But anyway, not talking about him. We're talking about Brighton and Joao Pedro. Look at those fixtures for Joao Pedro. He was going up in price last night. Did you check if he's going up in price again tonight?
He's not at the moment.
Be very surprised.
But he is. He's rising at a rate. So,
can I let you into a little secret?
Yeah.
I never do Saturday transfers.
No.
I never do Saturday transfers because we had all of today to play. We've got European football in the week. I thought it'd be a disaster to do a transfer. But I did Jimenez to Joao Pedro last night because Jimenez was going down and Joao Pedro was going up.
Should I tell you a secret?
Have you done JP as well? You absolute weasel.
I have.
Have you done Joao Pedro as well?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Last night.
No way.
I am.
Oh, we are to blame for the bloody algorithm. We're to blame for him going up in price.
Because it was already going up.
Who did you take out? Not
Strand
Solanke.
Larsen.
Oh, Strand Larsen. Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
You're not getting Cunha.
More on Cunha later.
Oh, right. Go on then.
I said to you yes. So I've had the best weekend this weekend. Honestly, I have such a lovely weekend. Starting on Thursday, and I feel like Thursday was the beginning of my weekend. To be honest,
where is this going? This conversation, and the highlight was bringing in Joao Pedro.
No, it wasn't. No, not at all. But so on Saturday, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I was watching the Spurs game on my phone, and we met up with our friend, and we went to watch the Scripting concert, and we were walking around the O2, and every time Joao Pedro did something, I was getting more and more peed off, wasn't I? Because I badly wanted Joao Pedro in my Game Week 11 wildcard. Really badly. And that little weasel at Backbox talks me out of it because he was like, I don't know if he's going to come straight back in. And
when are you going to give us a break?
Stop.
And when are you going to stop listening to him for Brighton advice?
Yep. Well, now. Now is the time that I've stopped listening to Az. So I decided not to do it. And it's my own choice. It is what it is. And I went Strand Larsen instead. And I instantly regretted it because I just knew as soon as he came on the pitch against Arsenal, I was like, oh God. And then he banged again. And I just was like, I can't have this. I want him back in my team. And he was cheap and he was going up. And the thing for me right now is saving money for Saka because I'm not convinced that I want to do Bruno to Saka. Even I know Bruno blanked this weekend, but I'm still not convinced I want to lose Bruno to get Saka.
No.
Ideally, I'd like to lose Mbomo. And therefore, keeping some extra funds is important. Joao Pedro rising 0.1 here, 0.1 there. I think he might go up 0.2 or 3 this week.
It's going to be very popular.
So
very popular. Southampton at home next.
So when we got home last night, we were having a cup of tea watching Match of the Day because I was like, I'm buzzing. I got to watch this Spurs game again. And I saw he was going up and I thought, I've just got to do it. Yeah. Neither he nor Strand Larsen had got any fixture in midweek. So I was like, let's just go with it.
Was there much else to say about this game? I mean, Joao Pedro was it, wasn't he? I mean, there's such a lot of the conversation is going to be about him. What else went on in this game?
Evan Elstad one ruled out, didn't he? I think he was a bit unlucky. Yeah, I think it's mostly just
I thought it was a good game.
First
and foremost, I mean, there's two teams there that I think they're proper Premier League. They're going up against each other, high lines, aggressive press from both of them. Joao Pedro was the star of the show, but there was some very, very good performances. I thought Evan Nilsson was unlucky. He's in the top 10 for XG underachievers, by the way, with 0.51 minus. So, bit of a delta there for him. So, still eyes on.
Semenyo picked up his 5th yellow. Out next week.
True enough. Yeah, true enough.
So if you've got Semenyo...
he's very unlucky not to equalise right at the end, wasn't he? What a belter that would have been.
He was.
Off the bar.
But won't be able to play in Game Week 13 now. So you'll just have to think about that if you're a Semenyo owner, whether you want to hold him through the thing and know you're safe then after that, because he's unlikely to get to 10 quickly, you would think.
Well, what are the fixtures? So he's out for one game, right?
Just the one match.
So he's out for the Wolves away game. So he's back for Spurs at home in 14 and then Ipswich, West Ham, Man United. So...
you're just going to have to think carefully about whether you want to hold that, what your front line looks like, whether you can cover that for Game Week 13 or not, or whether you want to move him on.
I think bench him. But yeah.
I think I'd move him on.
Do you?
Yeah.
For who? Who would you get?
No, I think most people are finding that they're going to downgrade Haaland and therefore going to have some money.
Yeah, fair play. All
Might
right,
be able
fair
to take
play.
him to a Saka if you do that.
Well, listen, we've mentioned him a few times. I want to move on and talk about. Oh my God, it's just this player looks absolutely unreal. I hope it's not sort of temporary form. I hope it's because the league needs a sort of. The league needs a character like him, right? His celebrations are absolutely top notch. He's in such form at the minute. The confidence for him to, and it was a great ball by Lamina, right? I take nothing away from the ball over the top, and it looked as if it was a kind of train. They worked on the training ground, didn't they? Because it's like Lamina almost like spotted the run, and again a bit like the Matoma one. Cunha's already making the run, thinking if Lamina does what he's been doing in training all week and dunks this over to me, I'm going to get on the end of this. But even so, the touch and then the finish. They said on Match of the Day it was Bergkamp-esque. I have to agree. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then after that, you're thinking, well, can't get any better for him. The second goal
He's better.
But the second goal, I don't think it's better. I think the first goal's better because of the skill and the technique. But the second goal oozed confidence. He just picks that ball up and he's like, I'm going to put this top bins because I'm Matthias Cunha.
That's why. But that's why I love the
superb.
second goal, because the second goal was just
Yeah.
It was just like, what of it?
I think genuinely though with Cunha, I think we can sort of put a +1 up for the FPL community there, because a lot of us we've been looking at him for a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And over the course of Watford, over the course of Wolves' difficult fixtures, of which there were many,
Yeah.
and that's why they find themselves in the bottom of the league. And we said this for the last few weeks in a row, right? They find themselves in 20th because they've had very, very difficult fixtures. And I sat here a few weeks ago and said I backed Gary O'Neill to get them out of it.
Yep.
And I still do. And now they've got back-to-back wins.
Yep.
And that win in particular, I think it was Southampton at home last week, wasn't it? Which I think you'd expect them to win, but pressure on, right? But to go away to Fulham
Yep.
in a game where I must admit, I was not expecting him to win. I benched Aït-Nouri.
I did too.
And, spoiler alert for my team later on, I benched Cunha this week. I benched him. FPL is about learning lessons, ladies and gentlemen. And lesson number 1 of this week learned for me is don't ever bench Cunha again.
I must admit, Lee, I was a bit confused when you told me you'd bench Cunha, because in my mind, I get that Jimenez, I understand in part why you did it, because it was home versus away, same game. It's the home player versus the away player. But I just think that Cunha is...
Do you know what it was? There is a lot that I think maybe went on in my head, but I spent a lot of time this week thinking about my midfield because my transfers were there to get Palmer in.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a lot about that. Then I was thinking a lot about captaincy because I used my triple captainship this week.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a lot about that and where to place it and how I should place it and whether I should place it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't spend enough time looking at Jimenez versus Cunha and going, and Cunha is the man on form and Jimenez isn't. I went with the home game. Yeah. I thought Fulham at home are good, and they are. But I was not expecting Cunha to pull out 2 absolute worldies like that. But listen, hands up, that is a mistake. Lesson learned. I'm happy he's in my team, and I will not be benching him going forward because he can score in any game.
Cunha is a frustration to me because he... On wildcard, I couldn't afford him because the way that I'd set my team out, that's not quite right. I could have afforded him had I sold Gvardiol, and at the time, I just was like, I can't remember, who did Man City play last week? They had a really nice game, didn't they, last week? And then they didn't.
Can't remember.
I can't remember either. And I thought, right, I should, and right at the death, Gvardiol should have scored in that game, and I kept him because he was scoring and all of that stuff. And on reflection, the right thing to have done would have
Brighton, Charlie say.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Brighton
that's
away.
right, because they lost, didn't they? The right thing to have done would have been to have gone for a cheaper asset instead of Gvardiol and used the money to have Cunha instead of Stranos. And on reflection, that's what I should have done. However, at the time, I wasn't prepared to make that choice. And part of that was because I wanted to make sure that if I wanted to go for a second Arsenal defender, it was easy to do.
Okay.
And we can talk about Arsenal in a minute. That is still what I think I want to do. I still think I want to get a second Arsenal defender.
But how are you going to get Cunha now? And I say how rather than are you, because he's looking like you've got to have him, isn't he? Top for overall.
He's quite easy.
Underlying BPS this week. Game week 12, 68 BPS, more than any other player.
He's quite easy to get to. I just downgrade Solanke. It's not difficult for me to get Cunha.
That's difficult emotionally for you to do, though, because then you have no Spurs.
They would have no Spurs. It is difficult emotionally, but it's something I'm prepared to do.
Right.
As I said at the beginning of this, I wasn't intending to hold multiple Spurs, like Solanke, for multiple matches. I will hold Solanke for one more, the Fulham game. I'll give him Fulham at home. But then after that, Solanke to Cunha feels like probably where I'll go, because then that, again, gives me that additional extra budget. I could do it this week.
Okay.
But I think I'll probably wait one more.
Okay, any worries on Ryan Aït-Nouri as well?
Nah.
Played kind of inexplicably a bit at centre-back, didn't he, this week? And it was a bit of a weird out-of-position thing. But with fixtures looking as they are for Wolves, third in the ticker with Bournemouth at home up next, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester, Man United, Spurs. Look, we all got on... Certainly I got on Cunha last week and Aït-Nouri the week before, because I was looking at these fixtures and backed Gary O'Neill to turn it round. They are turning it round. This was the 1 week, I think, Fulham away, where I was like, I haven't got a massive amount of faith that you're going to go there and get that. That's a difficult game. And they've proved me wrong. Yeah. They've proved me wrong. Yeah. So I've got no real intent right now to sell him. Certainly not Cunha, but certainly not Aït-Nouri, I don't think either. Probably going to keep him for now.
I don't think that there's many players...
He's fine, isn't he? Just keep him.
Yeah, and I also think that I appreciate that he was slightly out of position and therefore less attacking in this one. But
yeah.
In reality, in every other game that we've seen him so far this season, he's been very attacking.
Absolutely. So. Well, you mentioned doubling up on the Arsenal defence, and let's go and speak about Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0 briefly. No Chris Wood in the starting lineup for Nottingham Forest, probably because he played a lot for New Zealand, didn't he, on international duty over the break. But nevertheless, still a very difficult game for Awani to come in away at Arsenal. But the guile, creativity, leadership, overall brilliance that Arsenal were missing over the last few weeks was back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What a player. I mean, he comes in, just casually drops... a sort of world-class performance like this against a very good Forest outfit. They're having a good season. Second overall for chances created, only to Gvardiol this week. And amongst midfielders, he was... Let's have a look at this. He's... I thought it was him that was second, but it's Saka, actually. So underlying BPS, not that great. But the eye test will tell you that Ødegaard being back was not just great for Arsenal. It wasn't just great for Ødegaard, but it was good for Saka as well, I thought.
And the defence. I think having Ødegaard in that team is a bit like we were just saying about Man City and Rodri. I think it's a similar conversation with Ødegaard and Arsenal. Like, Arsenal defensively have been at sea the last few weeks, and I actually thought that they might struggle in this one. And maybe if Chris Wood had started, they might have struggled to keep the clean sheet. As it happens...
I don't think so. He'd got bossed by them too, wouldn't he?
I think he probably... Well, I don't know, because over the last few weeks, they haven't been bossing people, and I think that's the kind of critical thing, isn't it? Is that we saw an Arsenal performance this week that was much more in keeping with what we would have expected from the Arsenal defensive setup.
But why does Ødegaard being back affect the defence?
Well, I think there's just a security with him being there. Like, he's such a leader in that team, and I think it allows he moves the ball so nicely from the defence into the attack and works so brilliantly alongside Saka. Allows Saka to be that more attacking output. Allows I think they just flow better as a team when he's there, and having that all-powerful midfield with him in it, I think just gives that security in front of the defence. It's just an extra line of protection.
I think he triggers the press, is what he does.
Just great.
I think he triggers the press brilliantly, and I think Thomas Partey and others, and Rice will be the same when he comes back, right? Partey is a top player, very, very good central defensive midfielder, but he needs that leadership. He needs to be watching Ødegaard, and when Ødegaard presses, he's like, now I've got to go and do that as well. And he'll go and watch where Ødegaard presses, and he'll press in the opposite direction. And they'll you're right about Ødegaard's leadership, but it's not just leadership as in, chat on the pitch and what he's saying.
What he physically
it's what
doing.
He does triggers how everybody else plays. Yeah. And because of that, they win more duels in the middle of the park. Partey's more effective, and therefore they don't get into those defensive dangerous positions. The oppositions.
They make less mistakes when Ødegaard is there, and if you're not making those mistakes and therefore losing the ball, it protects the defence that you have behind. So suddenly your defensive assets are better, and your attacking ones are better. So I think from an Arsenal perspective now, there's options, right? So at the moment, I just have Raya because I made the decision on wildcard to go for Bruno over Saka. I now have some decisions to make heading into game week 13 because Arsenal have West Ham.
They got some unbelievable fixtures coming up, Arsenal.
They
Top
have.
of the ticker right
and
now.
I said on the Q&A last week and on the FPL pod and various other platforms last week that I was going to wait 1 week with Arsenal because Forest have actually been good this season. Apart from the last couple of weeks now, they've had a really, really good season. So I was like,
yeah, absolutely.
I can give it a week, but going into West Ham, I need to do something about Arsenal.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a slight quandary with what to do.
Double defence?
Because yes, but if I do that, which I'm absolutely keen to do, to go Gvardiol to Gabriel, too many G's in there. I was like, I've lost my thought. I'm very keen to do that. I don't think I've quite got enough budget to go from Mbomo to Saka straight off the bat. Had the money for Bruno, but obviously Mbom's is a little bit cheaper. So I'll have to find that extra budget, which again is doable, but then it would be a hit. So I'd be taking Gvardiol down then, and I'd have to go to Timber, which I don't hate, given that Arsenal, given Ben White and the Ben White situation, but I'd far rather have Gabriel. And so in my head, I've now got a decision to make as to whether or I just go Bruno to Saka.
Who's your priority?
Well,
a second Arsenal defender or Saka? Because I think that's clear.
I think so, but the Saka conversation is less clear. So the Gabriel Gvardiol thing is really easy. It's just a straight choice. It's just a straight swap, right? It's really easy. The Saka conversation is more difficult. Saka from Bruno, very easy. Can just do that. But do I want to do that ahead of Bruno playing Everton at home? Not sure.
But after that, his fixtures are difficult, no?
But after that, his fixtures are more challenging. So I could do that now and just have Saka ready for the future and know that I've got Saka.
Yeah.
I might miss out on a Bruno haul against Everton, but that's doable. My preference is to go from Mbomo, and I'll tell you exactly how far short I am, but that would be a hit to do that.
Okay.
So what I need to then decide is how far, where do I want to go with this? Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of key. I think Saka is absolutely my preferred of the two.
He should be. When I asked you that question, I asked you it when I expected a clearer answer, because I think Saka has to be the priority. It has to be the priority, especially now that Ødegaard's back. The way he took the goal, the way he just lashed it home was absolutely incredible. And they're on such the same wavelength, him and Ødegaard. It's unreal. And I think for this run of fixtures between now and the next wildcard window, I've got him in my team. I'm very happy to have him in my team, and he's going absolutely nowhere, Saka, unless injured. And even then, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to get him out on the pitch anyway.
Well, I've just realised that if I do Mbomo and Gvardiol...
We'll talk about your team in just a sec.
No, but I've just realised that I've got the exact money.
To do what? Saka and who?
Saka and Gabriel for Gvardiol and Mbomo.
Oh, you might be doing that for what, -8 or something?
-4.
-4.
But I can't do that now, but it's exact money. I'm going to have to watch the windows so much this week, aren't I?
Nice. All right, well, listen, very good performance from Arsenal. Young, I think you pronounce his name, Nwaneri. Every time he's come on in any competition,
it's going up tonight.
I like the look of him. What a great young player Arsenal have got there. So, yes, Arsenal, if you've got them, hold. And if you haven't, what did you make of the Havertz not starting, very briefly? Jesus coming in? Might we see more of that? Or is that just to do with Havertz playing international football?
I think probably more to do with Havertz playing international football, no?
All right, okay. All right, Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. Let's get through the rest of these games, Sam. What did you make of this game? Or do you want me to do it? Because you were out watching Max play football, weren't you, during this for most of this game, and I watched it all.
I was not watching.
You were you were running the line for Max's team today, weren't you?
I was running the line.
Any dodgy offside decisions?
I got it spot on. I was brilliant. I didn't need any VIR support or anything.
PGMOL, if you're listening, the new David Coote replacement. Sam from FPL Family.
I'm excellent at running the line.
Sam from FPL Family with a bit less cocaine. Right, Southampton 2,
no cocaine.
Liverpool for a bit. Yeah.
Let's be clear. Not just a bit less. There was none of that.
Anyway, talking of David Coote,
your football boots.
Talking of referees and dodgy decisions, another one in this game against Liverpool. He's outside the area. I'm not having it. I'm not having this nonsense.
His toe was on the line, apparently.
It's not rubbish. I
haven't seen it. So.
It's outside the area. It's just nonsense. But anyway, whatever. Southampton deserved it. They deserved to be in this game, Southampton. There was a general swagger of arrogance, I thought, about Liverpool in the first half, and I did not like it. I did not like it. There was a bit of complacency there.
Okay.
There was a little bit of, in the next 7 days, we've got to play you lot, Real Madrid and Man City. You're the least important of our games. That's how it felt to me. If you're a Liverpool fan and you watched it, tell me if you felt that. And it wasn't until the second half when Southampton went, no, actually, we can win this. And they were very, very good, Southampton.
There was a lot of changes, though, in that Liverpool team today.
There was, yeah. We missed Maka, no doubt about it. And it was a shame not to see Diaz because I thought, given how Southampton like to play out from the back, Diaz is really good
He's a terrier.
when part of that front three at setting traps.
Yeah.
And if you've got the dodgy goalkeeper as well, Alex McCarthy, and to be honest, it was Ramsdale being out. Not that Ramsdale's elite with his feet, but as soon as I heard that Ramsdale and Bednarek were out, I was kind of, as you know, 50-50 on the triple captain. And when I heard those two were out, I was like, right, I'm going to play this on Mo this week. So I did play the triple captain on Mo this week.
Happy about it?
I think so, yeah.
I think you
so.
have to be, but
Yeah,
I also
think
think I could understand if you felt a little bit disappointed.
Yeah. In a sort of FPL greedy way, and we have to be, don't we?
We have to be. Yeah.
You know, I was delighted he puts the penalty in, obviously, and then he takes his shirt off. I'm like, Mo,
put your shirt on.
put a bloody shirt on. It cost me 3 points.
And then he missed a sitter.
And then he has what? Then he misses a sitter, and then one comes off the post.
Then he hits the post. Yeah.
So am I happy? Yes and no, because he actually could have had 3 or 4. But at half time, if you'd have said to me,
he's going to
I'll give you 11 points.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, okay.
Yeah.
Because, or did he get 11 or did he get
12?
Might have got.
No, he got 28, didn't he? So he must have got 14 bonus points.
No, because he went down to 2 bonus points rather than 3 right at the end.
What, because of the booking?
No, I think it was to do with past completions or something. I don't know.
26 he got, yeah.
26, so 39 for me. So if someone had said to me, you get, at half time he's going to get 13, I'd have gone, all right, great. Because at half time he wasn't really in the game.
Was that? I think I read a stat somewhere that was his 9th booking for Liverpool, and 5 of them have come for taking his shirt off.
Yeah. When the shirt comes off as well, you're just like,
put it on.
Yeah, put it on, but doesn't he look after himself, that lad? Oh my God.
He has got an unbelievable torso.
He's absolutely ripped. Just like, oh my God. He is just unreal, isn't he?
Also, Mo Salah strikes me as one of these people. By the way, the ref that ref Max's game today, I said to Max as we were walking off the pitch, I was like, Max, did you think the ref looked like someone? He was like, Mum, it was the image of Mo Salah. Facially,
Nice.
He was the image of Salah. But Mo Salah, if you saw him on the street, just in a like jumper and trackies, you wouldn't think he was going to be like that. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't look like he should look like that under his clothes. Unbelievable physique.
Yeah. It's unreal. So yes, I'm happy with the 13. I'll take it. I think that's a triple captain win, but you're right, it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
But yes, it was. Yeah, when McAllister and Diaz come on, it was different. No doubt about it. It was different. But I do want to give a shout out, and I've forgotten his name because I hadn't seen him play ever before for Southampton. I'm going to try and find on SofaScore the guy, or you guys can put it in the chat very quickly for me. The young number 9 that played up front for Southampton, Paul Onuachu, different class. He had to go off injured fairly early into the second half, and that changed the game, actually. Changed the game because not only was he holding the ball up, but lots of bits of skill, really putting his weight about. You can see why Russell Martin had decided to put a big lumpy striker up there against our two, to just put himself about a little bit and take the pressure off the defence. He knew that we'd have a lot of the ball. He knew that we'd have a lot of possession. And I guess he also knew that actually what I've been saying all week and the reason I triple captain Salah was going to happen. They faff about, Southampton. They do faff about. They like to play out from the back, and that is admirable. But that goalkeeper gives it away.
When I was driving home with Max after the game today, they said a stat on the radio, and I'm going to get it wrong, but they said that across the big 5 leagues of Europe, Southampton are bottom for the most errors leading to goals.
Yeah.
This season. And it's not just like they're just individual mistakes, and I obviously didn't see the opening goal for Liverpool in this one, but they were like, it's just, it was last week they were talking about, there was an individual mistake. Player just plays the ball across the middle of the park, loses it, and they go and score from it. And if you're they were saying on the radio, if you're Russell Martin, that is the most infuriating thing, because you spend all week training these players, talking about how to play, and clearly they know the system and they play it well. When they're attacking, they're actually quite good and they play all right. And then they make these stupid individual mistakes, and these individual mistakes are what's costing them massively in these games.
The first one was a disaster.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. What McCarthy's doing, throwing it out to, is it Fernandes in the middle there, who actually did all right. I thought he had a good game. What's he doing?
No.
He just puts it straight into a dangerous position. And it's just madness, absolute madness. So anyway, the summary of that semi-rant from me is that I'm happy we won. I thought Southampton deserved a draw. I thought they deserved a draw, especially from the first half. And had we lost or drawn that game, I would have no complaints. But as it is, we won. We've ground out a victory in a very important week for Liverpool. And we're 8 points clear. And it's looking really, really good.
And next week, you could get 11 points clear if you beat them.
Absolutely. And the way that they're playing right now and the way that we're playing, I wouldn't want to back against it. I'm sort of sitting here, you know, obviously that's going to be a difficult game, but I look at our midfield and I look at their midfield. I look at what Bissouma and Sarr have just done. With respect to Bissouma and Sarr.
Well, now hang on. Don't you dare be rude about Spurs, because we just won 4-0.
With respect to Bissouma and Sarr, you've got Maka who'll be in there. You've got Gravenberch who's having a wonderful season. You've got
Papsa.
Curtis Jones.
No
You've got,
Bissouma.
you know, yes, De Bruyne might be there and some others, but it will be, yeah.
I'll be lucky to wash Bissouma's boots.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. So anyway, Liverpool, pleased with that.
We were happy this weekend, weren't we, with our teams?
Really pleased with that. And for Mo to get the 2 goals, you just got to have him, folks. You've just got to have him, I think.
Where was Simicast today? I was very sad to not see him on the bench.
Don't know, but I'm starting to wonder.
I think he should be playing Simicast.
Starting to wonder whether he should be first choice.
Stop it. He
Because
should.
Robbo is...
I think you'll find I've been telling you for years, Lee Bonfield, that Simicast is a hero, and I don't.
And I've been telling you
it.
for years, he's not. He's rubbish.
is.
But it's only because Robbo is now also a little bit going the way of Kyle Walker that Simicast maybe should get more of a start.
Well, we'll put Timo Werner up against him in a few weeks, and we'll find out if he's going the same way as Kyle
But
Walker.
Simicast against good teams positionally gets found out like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, but Man City aren't very good right now.
It's still Man City. Anyway, let's move it on. What else to discuss, Sam? What else to discuss?
Madueke deciding to cost us all
Go on then, quickly. Go on.
FPL points. That's all
Palmer.
I've got to say on it. I'm frustrated.
Palmer looked like he was going to score. Madueke gets in the way. Palmer captainers are absolutely raging, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Disgusting
Well, I
behaviour
think
from
even
Madueke.
if you're not a captain, even if you're not captain, you're still raging at Madueke.
Oh, what's he doing? Get out of the way.
God knows what he's doing. One thing I will say is I don't think Leicester were that bad that the manager got sacked. Like they weren't great, but they weren't brilliant. Like,
Something's
they weren't
going on
terrible.
there.
Yeah, but do you think? Okay,
Something's going on there. What's going on?
Do you wonder? Like West Ham are apparently going to sack Lopetegui if they don't win tomorrow. Do you wonder whether they thought maybe they're in for the same man?
And they're trying to get in early.
And they're like, well, look, we've lost another game. If they lose, they're going to get him. Let's just do it.
Who do you think they're going to get, Leicester?
Well, I don't know, but we went out with my lot earlier, and they were saying Van Nistelrooy is the favourite, which is random. But Van Nistelrooy is not who West Ham were being linked with. They were getting linked with some Spanish guy.
I think Graham Potter's going to get a job somewhere along the line.
But where?
I think Leicester. I think it'll be Graham Potter. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway.
I can't see Graham Potter dealing with Jamie Vardy in his Red Bull necking as he goes on a pitch. Can you?
Jamie Vardy.
We're just necking Red Bulls every 5 minutes.
Pre-match in the tunnel, just necking a Red Bull, Jamie Vardy. What is he like?
Same age as you and me, isn't he, Jamie Vardy?
Absolutely mad.
Absolutely mental.
mad. Anyway,
I think we can move on. That's all I want. Oh, Gusto. If you were Gusto only, just unlucky because he's ill.
He's ill. I don't think I can move on because I do want to just start to peddle a slightly different narrative with Chelsea.
What?
Over the years, I've not been Chelsea's biggest fan. This is a known, right?
Where is this going?
I like them at the moment.
Oh my Christ.
I think they are a really, really nice football team. And I think Maresca has got them cooking. And anyone that can get a tune out of Nicholas Jackson. And by the way, that first goal from Jackson, the finish is nice. But the tenacity... It's only Darwin Núñez can only dream of tenacity like that, right? The tenacity to beat several players and then get it into the 1-2 off of whoever it was, can't remember, and then to just like slice it past the keeper.
It's Enzo Fernandez.
Very, very nice indeed.
What? Are you all right?
What?
20 years we have dated
Yeah.
or been married.
They're good.
20 years. And in those 20 years, I have never, ever,
They're good.
ever once heard you say anything positive about Chelsea.
They're good. What do you want me to say? I think he's got them cooking, and they've got a young team. I still think they lack a little bit of leadership. When the going gets tough, let's see how they get on. But at the minute, he's got them going, and he's tactically very astute and very flexible. Maresca, his in-game tactics are very, very good. Not this year. They'll be in the race next year. They'll be in the race next year, but not this year. They could get top 4 this year, but next year they're going to be in the title race. You heard it here first, because they've got some very, very good young players. Madueke, I think, is a top player, and I think if he can... What?
He prevented Palmer's points.
Yeah,
I
we
think
don't like
he's
him.
an idiot.
We don't like him this week. Yeah, we don't like him this week. What else? Anything?
I think we can move on.
We can't... Well, listen.
Oh,
Listen.
So, right, okay, I'm going to tell you my story.
Listen.
So we're in...
Tears. Actual tears.
So we're on the train.
For Flekken.
Yeah. So we're on the train going into London.
Come on, Flekken.
And it's just Lee and I, and we're
tell
sitting
it quickly,
there.
because we're miles over
I'm
time.
going to tell it. I'm going to tell the long story. So we're sitting on the train, and Lee goes... He brings up the Everton-Brentford game on his phone, and he's like, let's have a bet. What time...
About 10 or 15 minutes gone, right?
Yeah. What time do you think the clean sheet's going to go? And I'm like, no, it's going to be right today. And you're like, 85th minute. I'm going to think it's sticking, and then it's going to go. So we get off the train. We're doing our...
That's the life of a Flekken owner.
So we're going about
That's
our day.
how it goes.
Every time I'm giving updates on games, Lee's like, what's going on at the Brentford game? Is clean sheet still there? And every 5 minutes I'm going, clean sheet still there, Lee. Clean sheet still there. And Lee's like, shut up. Stop
And
it.
to be fair
You're
to
gonna
you,
jinx it.
you didn't do a beto on me like I did to you the other day.
Because I'm not horrible like you. And then at the end of the game, we were walking towards the shop, and I just put my hand on his shoulder and I went, it's finally happened. And literally you didn't even think about it. You went, oh my God, has Flekken kept a clean sheet?
Unreal.
So happy.
Especially when the Norgard red goes off, and I'm just like, oh no, it's going to happen, innit?
I have not
1-0
seen
Everton.
Lee that happy since Liverpool won the title.
Flekken clean sheet.
All over a clean sheet against Everton.
Literal tears. And to be honest, the first thing that I thought of was, that gif of Ronaldo that goes around on Twitter, like he's hugging someone and he's like that, and he's like crying his eyes out because he's just become European champion. I used that on Twitter because that's what it felt. That's
I know
how
it
felt.
did, because you looked at me with actual tears in your eyes. And
Flekken.
And you just stood there and you were like,
Deserved.
There's saves in there.
Deserved.
There's he probably got bonus, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he's got a clean sheet. It's taken 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Flekken owners,
Yeah.
give you a clap for your loyalty and your absolute patience. It's finally paid off.
Somebody who watched that game, and there won't be many of you, explain to me how Ashley Young gets 36 BPS for Christ's sake. Flekken coming in with the 2 bonus rather than the 3. I'm thinking he's got loads of what's that, 5 saves. I'm thinking the 3 bonuses locked in. Ashley Young for some reason gets 3 bonus points. What a joke!
Look, Lee,
But we take it. We take it.
You can't start moaning at Flekken for not getting 3 bonus points. He's just returned you an absolute hole.
I'm not moaning. Right, are we moving on?
Yeah.
It's Amorim's first game. I don't feel like we can move on. Can we move on? We didn't watch the game, did we?
We didn't watch the game. We was out. I don't know what we'd say.
Let us know in the chat, guys. Man United, any good? They were back. United were back for 3 minutes.
All I can say is that Bruno was top on the sofa score. Bruno was top, but I need to look at exactly what happened. We need to watch Match of the Day.
I've heard Onana played very, very well, and Liam Delap could have had a couple of goals. So, yeah, it wasn't beyond the realms of
my bestie,
Ipswich
Liam
maybe
Delap.
scoring this. So let's move on from that.
Sorry that we can't talk about Man United. We didn't watch the game.
No, we can't. We can't.
We went out.
Let's do a quick promo before we do our teams. Let's do Patreon, shall we? That's a lovely patron.
Patrons, legends.
Lovely patrons. Patreon.com/FPL Family if you'd like to come and join us over in the Patreon community. And many of you will be in the live chat. So if you are one of our patrons, get in the live chat and just say, we love Patreon or something, I don't know. Or Flekken clean sheet, tears in my eyes, something like that. All the links are in the description below. If you want to join us at one of the 3 tiers, the $3, the $5 or the $10 tier, the $3 tier will give you access to our Slack community, our chat community. And like I say, many of the guys in the live chat here on a Sunday night are in that Slack as well. And you'll also get our bonus Ohana podcast that come out on a Thursday previewing the upcoming game week, where we talked about how Salah and Bissouma were going to absolutely dominate the Man City midfield. We called that. We called that on Thursday. every now and again we get something right.
Get a lot of things right.
And then the Manager of the Month tier, the $5 tier, you get those things, but you also get then entered into our monthly Manager of the Month competition, where the top 3, I track it all offline in a spreadsheet. So you give me your team ID, I put everybody in a big league, and if you come, I think it's about sort of 300 or so FPL managers in there. If you come in the top 3, you will win a prize, and that prize is a football shirt of your choice. So you have to come in the top 3, and if you come first, you will also get $100 worth of vouchers for a store of your choice, courtesy of our friends at Sleeper Footy. So loads of prizes to be won at that tier. And then if you really want to go all in and have one-to-one Zooms with Sam and I talking about your team, maybe you've got a wild card coming up, you want some advice from one of us, then you can have a look at the $10 tier, where you get all that other stuff as well, including entry to the competitions and the opportunity to speak to Sam and I about your team.
I did 2 of those last week, Lee, and I tell you, they are some of the highlights of my week when I do the Patreon Zoom chats. It's lovely to speak to people and talk about their teams.
And a lot of the patrons have a lot of good ideas coming back as well. So 100%. It's not just us saying, do this with your team. It's like we have a good old conversation about it. Because genuinely, anyone that joins our Patreon, and all of you that are in here tonight, these are proper FPL players. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're gonna give us some money every month to support the channel and do their Patreon, it's like I'm a proper FPL player, so I know what I'm talking about. So we learn a lot as well.
Would like to give myself a little shout out though.
Would you? I bet you would.
I spoke to Stephen, who is one of my absolute besties. I speak to him every time he wants one. He's wonderful. I had the first ever time I've spoken to Wahab this week. Lovely guy. He said to me, Sam, I've got Pedro Porro on my bench. I said no.
Oh
no, Wahab.
I hope he didn't.
You play him.
Oof, okay.
And also, you hand the captain's armband to Salah, and if I was you, I'd triple captain him. Now, he did play Salah, he did captain him, but he didn't give him the triple captain's armband, which is a shame. But he did, Lee, listen to me and play Pedro Porro. So yes, this morning I woke up to a nice message going, Sam, you're a legend, I played Pedro Porro. Nice. I was like, you're welcome.
Nice. So if you want a bit more of Sam and I in your lives, and you'd like to come and support us in what we do, then patreon.com/FPLFamily. All the links are in the description below. Go check us out. Let's talk about our teams, Sam, for this week. Would you like to go first, or shall I?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Go for it.
A little bit disappointed. There's a little red arrow at the moment. I think
Lewis Hall still to go, though?
Lewis Hall still to go. I think for me, it was one of those weeks where as soon as Saka scored early on, I thought, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah,
particularly as Palmer had blanked. And really, I was relying on Bruno today. I needed Bruno to turn up today, and he didn't, which was a shame.
Just noticed Dalot. That was one thing I know. The very, very brief highlights that I have seen, Amorim did immediately go to that kind of wing-back system, and Dalot was right. He was in amongst it, to be fair. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I feel like I got that right. Whether I hold Dalot long term or not remains to be seen. We haven't got... I mean, last week I just felt I was incredibly unlucky because he goes off on 57. At least this week he does play the whole lot.
Yeah.
But obviously doesn't get the clean sheet, which is a frustration, but it is what it is. I am going into tomorrow. I very, very nearly did Solanke to Isak on Friday evening / Saturday morning, but I knew it was going to absolutely do me over for Saka moving forward if I did it, and so I didn't.
Yeah.
I do worry that I'm going to be absolutely murdered tomorrow night by Isak because he's actually quite heavily owned. So I am a bit worried about that. But Lewis Hall is there, and I'm hoping he's going to... I mean, Lewis Hall's getting a hat-trick tomorrow, by the way. I don't know if any of you heard this, but he is. And he's keeping a clean sheet also and getting all 3 bonus points. So that's going to be fabulous. I'm all right with this because I kind of feel like my team is still in a nice place. I've done the Strand Larsen. Yeah. Like, my team for next week, every forward is playing at home. Like, because I've now...
So you've done Strand Larsen to Pedro already?
That's done.
That is done.
I've got one more free transfer for the week because obviously I didn't do anything last week. So
and those moves you did on the fly a second ago was Vardiol and Embuemo to Saka and Gabriel to Arsenalise your team.
Yeah. The only issue with that is Saka is going to go up tonight.
So you'd have to spend that'd be for -4.
So it's a -4.
And you'd have to do it tonight.
I'd have to do it tonight, and Arsenal have got Champions League mix.
Ooh,
so
don't like that.
I don't want to do that.
Don't like it.
So I'm not going to do that tonight. If I'm priced out of the Vardiol and Gabriel thing, then Saliba's always there as an option, as is Timber. So there will be routes to Saka later, and I'll have to decide whether the -4 is what I want to do. Because I actually do really like my team for next week. I really like it. So I don't feel like... I mean, I want to get more Arsenal players in for West Ham, but I could just do Gvardiol to Gabriel, not take a hit and go there. But we'll just see. But at the moment, I've made one transfer. I've still got one to go.
All right, very good. So 702 points altogether, 53 with Hall to go.
Yep.
I agree with you. I think it's only really Isak that can hurt you. And he can hurt big, right? But it's only really Isak that can hurt you. So small red, overall rank 1.07 million, but a total points of 702, so not a bad week. The Salah captain makes a big difference, right? Particularly in a week where the Haaland captain, the Palmer captain,
because I didn't have Saka and I didn't have Cunha and I didn't have Joao Pedro. There's a lot of guys there that did well this week that I didn't have. So to have a tiny little red so far with still Lewis Hall to come feels okay.
Very good. All right, very good.
Unlike you, my darling.
Here's my team for the week. Big week.
That.
Big. And I needed it, to be fair. So 83 this week.
If only you'd play Cunha.
Well, yes, this is it, isn't it? It's like, and I'm going to make myself the most hated man in this live stream by saying I'm 83 and I'm disappointed because everything that we said about Mo, we're taking his bloody shirt off, costing 3 bonus points.
Yeah.
And then the couple of misses towards the end there.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I'm not going to moan too much about that. But the Cunha one, I'm kicking myself for that. I'm absolutely kicking myself for that.
Wish we'd had a conversation about that because I'd have said play Cunha over Jimenez.
Yeah.
And if I'd have said it, you probably would have thought a bit more about it.
I just didn't. I just thought Wolves going away to Fulham. I just thought Fulham away is a really hard game. Obviously, because I benched Aït-Nouri as well. I played Lewis against your lot because I thought more likely to get something than Aït-Nouri, who I feel is going to get nothing at Fulham because I just think Fulham away is such a difficult game. But
I did the same with Gvardiol though and Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, but Wolves have just flicked me the V's because it's like, you didn't believe in us and here we go. All right, I'd have got a net 2 better off from doing Aït-Nouri to Lewis, but it'd have been net 14 better off doing Cunha rather than Raul. So I am seriously kicking myself for that. However, with the Watkins goal, with the Flekken tears in my eyes clean sheet, Gabriel and Saka sitting there, 83
really,
points.
Really good week.
With the triple captain on Mo, with the 39 pointer, very happy with that. So, over halved my rank. I'm 52 plus. Now, same caveats apply. I've got Hall still to go as well. Don't have Isak, so Isak could hurt. There's no question about that. So I'm hoping for kind of a tight game, and 0-0 would be fine, quite honestly. I'll take that.
0-0 would be the best thing that could happen.
We'd take. But still, 83. My overall rank now has gone up from, I was about 1.2, maybe 1.25. Now I'm at 548k. So a real nice lump out of my rank. I said on the Ohana on Thursday to the patrons that between now and game week 19, so the end of the calendar year, so again up to that sort of wildcard window for next year, I'd like to get my team into a position where I'm at 250k. That's what I wanted to do. That's my target because I'm a quite target-orientated guy. And I was like, right, I'm going to set myself a target and I'm going to think about what I'm going to do week to week that's going to help me to get to that target. Well, I think this week has taken a massive chunk out of that. Getting Palmer this week was a big part of trying to achieve that target because I just think he's going to be really good for the next few. Mm-hmm. But even when you go back a couple of weeks, I think the Salah and Cunha transfers in for Haaland and... Who did I take out? I can't remember who I did. Oh, Jota, wasn't it? Because Jota's injured although he's coming back, right? But still. So it was Jota and Haaland for Salah and Cunha a couple of weeks ago. Made a big difference. And would have made an even bigger difference had I had not bottled it and benched Cunha. But making a big difference. And that was one of the cornerstones of the plan, the get to 250k by the new year plan. Bringing Palmer in this week was also key. Again, I was looking at it, and I go back to what I said to you a few weeks ago. I just wanted to minimise my routes to pain rather than maximise my route to points. I know that sounds stupid, but by getting rid of Haaland, it means you can start having Palmer, Saka and Salah without too much of a compromise, and you're not getting caned by these big players in midfield all the time. And like you, I'm reasonably happy with my team. Now, Jimenez to Joao Pedro is done.
So have you got any more transfers left?
No.
You're
this
done.
Week. So that's me done.
Okay.
I'm okay with taking points hits. I think I took a points hit this week.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. So that could pay off because I did Trent and somebody in midfield for Johnson, wasn't it? Brennan Johnson for Palmer and Hall. So right now, that's not looking like that's paying off because Brennan comes on and gets the goal. But still, I think it's the right thing to do in the medium term to get to where I want to be. But yeah, definitely. So I think with Watkins getting off the mark, or at least, back amongst the goals against Palace this weekend, they've got a difficult...
Enough?
Well, they've got a difficult fixture coming up, haven't they, Villa, with Chelsea away next week. But then after that, Brentford and Southampton at home.
Yeah, but
I like them too. I like them too. What?
I don't know, Lee.
They don't look quite themselves, do they? I'll give you that.
And I don't think he's doing enough for the price of him.
No, he's not. But equally...
You don't need the money for anything else now, though, really, do you?
I feel like my team's in a reasonable position. So I'm looking at it and going, well, do I take Watkins out for a hit next week? Because it'd be for Isak, right? That's the move. That's the move I've made.
If Isak goes off tomorrow, would you do it?
That's the move, because it's Watkins to Isak is the move. But then it's, okay, well, next week, yes, because Isak's got Palace, so I don't mind that. But then in 14, Isak is at home to Liverpool, whereas Watkins is going to be against Brentford at home. And then Watkins got Southampton at home, and Isak's going to Brentford. But then in 16, Leicester at home for Isak, followed by Ipswich, and then Villa at home. Those are the ones. I think I might ride it out with Watkins over the next few, and not get Isak, and that might come back to bite me. That's the move that, if I was going to do anything for a hit this week, because I've spent my transfer already. I've knee-jerked it. I've done Joao Pedro in for Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, but you were going to lose 0.2 on that.
Yeah, so I'm glad I've missed that. But Watkins to Isak is definitely on my mind. But I think I'm going to just ride that out for a few weeks and let Isak hurt me. I don't like it, but I think that's what's going to happen. But anyway, that narrative aside...
I think you might change your mind tomorrow night.
I might. Yeah, I might. But that narrative aside, 548k, so much more in the sort of right direction, right? It's the right direction. Just before we sign off, Malachi Fox, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Lee and Sam. Hope you're both well. We are, mate. Thank you. Up to 330k. Very good. And Salah, a must to captain against a dreadful City team, surely. Well, let's end on that, Sam. Here's go back to your team. Captaincy for next week. What are you thinking?
So in my bus team for next week, I currently actually have the captaincy on Bruno Fernandes at home to Everton.
Oh, I don't mind that either.
Quite like that.
Amorim's first home game.
I need to
watch the highlights from Ipswich today to see where he played. Because there's a few in the chat saying he was a little bit more DM today.
Oh, that will change my thinking on...
Go and watch the highlights.
Because that would change my thinking on the Saka thing.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this? Yeah, so it's there at the moment. I do not mind the Captain Salah thing. I think there's loads... I mean, in my team for next week, I've got Wood against Ipswich, Solanke against Fulham, Joao Pedro at home to Southampton, Palmer against that Villa defence.
Joao Pedro.
Look, so are they all at home? Palmer, Mbomo, Fernandes, Salah, Joao Pedro, Wood and Solanke. I think all of them are captainable. And if I bring in Saka, which I want to do...
At West Ham.
I think he's a good captain shout as well.
Yeah. All right, so who are you thinking?
It's on Bruno at the moment.
Right.
But I've got to watch that match of the day and see where we go. Palmer, probably.
I'm on Palmer at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm on Palmer. I just think Villa are out of sorts, aren't they? I think
They're
what you said before is right.
Also, but also got to see how Villa get on obviously they've got the midweek fixture and all of that. And Palmer, there's a lot of my team with midweek fixtures this week. So let's just check and everyone gets through it okay.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it, Sam. That is it for another week of FPL Family. There we go, into the last bit. So, yeah, decent week for me. Little red for you, but nothing to be too concerned about. But team looking in reasonable shape.
It's not going to be red. Lewis Hall, he's going to smash it.
He's going to smash it, isn't he? And he's actually going to do nothing.
Smash it.
Tell the good people what's coming up this week.
Actually, there's lots going on this week. So, on Tuesday, you and your absolutely smashing it up, triple captaincy, halving your rank, is going to join as I didn't have Salah. On Off the Bench.
That is going to be an Off the Bench podcast worth listening to, guys, because he ain't got Salah at all and I've tripled him. So I think I might have about doubled his score this week.
Oh my God, have you really?
I think he captained Haaland.
Is he done? Has he got Lewis Hall or is he done?
I don't know, but it's going to be worth a listen, guys. Put it that way. It's going to be worth a listen.
I love that. He's too busy eating hot wings. You seen that?
No.
They're doing a hot wing challenge tonight, him and Yelena.
Right.
Could be a disaster. So Lee's on Off the Bench this week with us. I am going to be back on the FPL pod this week, as always, with Jules and Kelly.
I noticed Mr. Laurent also captained Haaland this week.
Do you think he did that just to annoy me?
Yes. Yes, I do.
He did not.
He had Haaland. He's got Haaland and Salah.
Yes.
And I think there'll be a part of his brain that went, I'm going to go Haaland because I think he's going to smash Spurs and then I can rip the piss out of Sam on the podcast. And sorry it's not worked out like that. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be honest.
Well, I am going to ask him why he did it.
You on the FPL pod after you just smashed City 4-0?
I might be a bit annoying.
Dream.
I'm going back to Spurs on Thursday, by the way, to watch the Roma game, so I'll let you all know how that goes. If you haven't already done so, I did a podcast for The Athletic this week.
The chat has been full of that before we come on, by the way. Everyone's saying how good that podcast was.
Oh, thank you.
And I agree, it was a top podcast.
So the guys, Jesse, who produces the FPL pod, got in touch with me and said, look, my friend from The Athletic has been in touch. Do you fancy it? I can put you in touch. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And it's taken us a while because every time we've had it in the diary, something may just happen.
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to be recorded on Wednesday and then Pep went and signed a new contract. We're like, oh, I have to delay that.
Bloody Pep.
Anyway, bloody Pep. So we finally got it recorded and I loved recording it. It was such a fun episode. So if you haven't gone and watched that, it's not game week specific, so it's still relevant now. It's basically about has FPL changed the way that we watch football. You can watch it on YouTube on the Athletic channel or you can catch it on the Athletic podcast. I loved it. I loved doing that. So just a little shout out for that as a thing. And also just a shout out this week, I have got the day off work on Thursday because it's my mum's birthday and we're going to the Roma game and stuff together. So Az and I have moved our Q&A next week. It's on Wednesday. So if you want to catch us on the Scout Q&A, it'll be on Wednesday at 4 o'clock rather than Thursday.
Very good. All right. Well, listen, thank you all for joining us here tonight for this episode of FPL Family. Leave us a like before you go. Hit that subscribe button. I'm off to watch Match of the Day too. Because not only do I want to watch Salah's brace again, but I also want to watch City getting beat 4-0 again at home to the mighty Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
There it is. Good night, guys. Leave us a like, hit subscribe. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye-bye, everyone.